So I was in like retail corporate sales. I was a GM, a regional manager, and that kind of thing. I did that for 11 years. And actually, when I was about to turn 40, which was almost, let's see, my birthday's next week. So when I was about to turn 40, I kind of decided I don't really want to be doing this when I'm 50. And so my father was in real estate, and I had always been kind of an interest of mine and that kind of thing. But, I was in a place where I talked to my wife about it. My wife's name's Michelle. I have two young boys, Burston and Colton. They're 7 and 9 years old. And I talked to her, and I was like, we're in a place where I don't think I want to do this. What do you think? She's like, I think let's go for it. And so we decided to go ahead, and I got my license and all that set up prior to, looking for what brokerage and that kind of thing. But because I wanted to make sure that I had myself set up. I didn't want to like, hey, I'm out, guys, and then all of a sudden, I couldn't get my license, or that kind of thing. So I wanted to have everything in line prior to doing that, because I knew that, I was close to my bosses, my VPs and all that stuff. So I wanted to make sure that I was putting them in a good place too, and make sure that I'm not just, at a whim jumping ship from a company I've been with 11 years. So I joined the team September 6th of 2018. Yep, 2018. So that's why I just crossed 3 years. So once I realized, okay, I have my license and all those things, I know I want to go into real estate. That's when I, interviewed several different teams and different types of things, that kind of stuff. And, Dave actually sold my house in 2016. And so I had a house in West Ashley. He sold my house for me. And then Brett helped me with the buy side. So when everything came kind of around, of course it was a really smooth process when they did that for me. So I knew that I wanted to interview with them, but I don't, I'm not one to just, put all my eggs in one basket. So I interviewed with 5 or 6 different teams and different groups and that kind of thing. And it seemed like the best fit for me, just based on what I knew that I needed to ramp up, right? So I was, they call it golden handcuffs. And that's because I'm used to making a certain amount. I have overhead at my house and kids and everything like that. So I knew that coming from not being in real estate and going into real estate, I had to figure out a way to ramp up quickly so that I could make the type of income that I was used to and those type of things. So it became important to me. That was one of my big focuses. I mean, there's not a lot of real estate teams or anything that can ramp up very quickly to where you can make the type of income that I was used to making in a rapid succession, So that was very important for me, and of course my wife and kids as well. Really, I was trying to go from 0 to 100, right? So really everything, it kind of made it to where I was a greenhorn coming in from real estate. Although my father had been in real estate, it's one thing to watch someone do that, and then it is to actually realize, okay, this is all of me. This is how I produce income, going from W-2 to 1099, like all the things that have to occur in order to be successful. So, all the way from, how to prospect in order to get those clients, how to really build the trust with clients, just knowing everything that I need to know in order to be successful. And of course the leads and all those things, that's a huge portion, is knowing that Dave Friedman team provides the leads, and then we can of course help any of our friends and family in SOI and that kind of thing, sphere of influence. But knowing that those are provided for us is something that is, number one, it's costly if you're doing it on your own, but other than that, it also just takes time. So being able to walk into a place to where I can walk in, begin talking to clients, begin helping clients. My goal is to help as many people as possible. And there's a delay in, even in real estate. If I met you today and you were my client, even if we found the perfect house, that's 30 days minimum, right? So a lot of times when you're talking to clients, their timeline is different from that, and it might be 3, 6, 9 months. And that timeline difference can mean that you are in a place where it's going to take you time. You have to get to know them in order to be able to help them, to be able to serve them at the level that they need to be served at. And each client's completely different on what that means for them. So I think that because I had sold my house and purchased a house with the team, I had a pretty good idea of the level of expertise, the level of professionalism, and those type things. So that was right on pace for what I expected, and it always has been. I think the level of what's necessary in order to get all those things done, you kind of don't really know, because they made the transaction very smooth, but it went very smoothly for me on both sides, when I purchased, when I sold. But you don't really realize what all goes into that, everybody that's involved and those type of things. So that was kind of interesting for me to realize, but also just realizing the team that you have to have around you in order to do that successfully, in order for the client to see it as seamless, right? There's a lot of, it's kind of like the swan that is paddling across the water. I mean, it looks gorgeous, but underneath the water, those feet are going 100 miles per hour, right? So, and that's kind of how real estate is. You see it, you watch HGTV or something, and you look at it, and you're kind of going, oh, this is great. You get to show houses and help people, and there's a lot of money involved and that kind of thing, which is great. But I mean, there's a lot that goes into each portion, each particular part, and to know that the Dave Friedman team has a system set up for each one of those processes in order to make it so seamless for the client to appear like the swan instead of like, the ugly duckling, in a sense, that's trying to figure out what to do. So to know that, and I mean, I was used to a level of professionalism that I wanted to make sure that I was able to help my clients at that level, right? I didn't want to just try to wing it through clients. I needed to know that I had support through that process, that I could help them at the highest level from the first client until, today, when I've, helped all the clients that I have. I'm used to hard work, but real estate is hard work. Lessons from the team, I would say just the amount of, even though being in corporate world, I mean, I knew a lot of my higher ups and things like that, but there's some things that when I joined the team that I was really kind of surprised by or taken aback. We do team advance once every quarter. And so team advance is a time for us to reflect on our personal as well as our business and say, this is what I'd like to set up for the next 3 months. Now, coming from corporate world, we were always goal setting, weekly, monthly, that kind of thing. So we were always doing all of those things, but everything that we did was geared 100% around sell more, all straight business, right? So I think one of the most pleasant surprises was when I went to that first team advance, and I realized that Dave actually has it set up for us to where we set goals that are personal, and those are just as important as our sales goals. And those sales goals, I mean, there's a minimum that we are required to hit in order to, make sure that we're maintaining, we're not just slacking off, I guess. But nobody on the team is doing that. So I think that the most important thing is just that, when you reflect on your previous quarter for your personal life, your relationship with your wife, your kids, that's just as impactful to us personally as it is to our well-being, but also to the way that we are able to help our clients. And I think Dave knows that. And so because of that, he puts a big focus on that, or our health and, well-being, as much as it is, what are your personal goals for sales? What do you want to achieve, me personally? And we set up our entire year based around that, our quarter based around that, each month based around that, and then of course our weeks and days, so that we know that, all right, are you on pace, or are you behind pace, or are you, ahead of pace in order to achieve the goals that you really want to do and what would make you feel like a success for your family. I've been able to help a lot of clients, so each one of those is different in its own right. Some of those are smoother than others and those type things. But I think that sometimes when you're helping a client that didn't see maybe a way out or considered themselves, all right, I don't think this is even possible, but I guess I'm reaching out to a realtor, or I end up getting in touch with them, and then you get them across the finish line. I think those are some of the biggest successes, because number one, they're grateful. They got to where they wanted to do, where they wanted to be. And really that's kind of the goal, right? I mean, if you help as many people as you can, then you'll end up being helped as well. So that's, selling homes is one part of this whole thing, right? And yes, it can be lucrative, which is great. I'm sure my wife would say, that's an important part too, right? If I could help all the people in the world and then not make a living, then that wouldn't be very beneficial. But the biggest thing is that it allows us to, each one of those transactions that we get to close, that's an impact on a family or a person, so that you've changed where they live, they're in a whole different spot now, or they were able to sell the home that they didn't know that they could sell. And so it changes really everything. So we get to have it might be a small impact, but it's a lot of times a big impact, because that's the home that they live in. And as long as we keep our focus on those things, I think that's really what it's about. I have friends who are independent agents, and the amount of homes that they sell and those type things, they still get that impact of being able to help clients just like I do. But I think that my quality of life is better because of the fact that, really, by being on a team, we always have support. We always have someone to help us through different things. If there is a question, we have the ability to allow ourselves to help more people through the team, right? So having, showing agents and closing coordinators and all those things, it really impacts everything to where I get a quality of life as well. And I like to help coach my kids in soccer and baseball, and they're always playing sports. I get to see them more often, but I'm also still just as successful, if not, usually more successful than an independent agent, because of the fact that they're trying to do all these things and they're juggling all these things on their own. And it also allows me to really focus on what I'm good at, which is meeting with clients and helping them find homes and discover what's important to them and getting them across the finish line. The culture, yes, it is fun. To be honest, it's really fun. Everybody there has their own, I don't know, I guess we always joke around and cut up, but it's there's competition there, but it's not in a competition. I've been in competitive environments my whole life, and usually competition, sometimes it can get rather cutthroat if you feel like, by me getting this, it takes away from this. That's not the way that it is, which is awesome, because at any point, we're able to really do all those things, right? We get to help the other agents if they have an issue. Hey, Steven, you've done a few transactions like this. Like, what do you think the best thing? So we're bouncing ideas off of each other to make sure that, hey, this is the best way, this is what worked for me type thing. And because we all just want everybody else to be successful, it's a mindset that's like, if everybody's successful, then we're doing great, and that's not found a lot of places, It's a lot of times the one salesperson cutthroat over the other, and it's not like that at all. It's more along the lines of, what can we do to help you? How can we get you? I get asked that all the time by other agents. I ask the other agents that as well. Hey, it's good to hear from you. Do you have anything that I can help you with? And I get asked that all the time. It's awesome. A favorite part of the team is probably that community that we have, the ability to call up any one of them at any time. We get together for fun outings and things like that. Play golf. We'll, get together to just do the team advance. The team advance as itself is an opportunity for us to see everyone and then go out and get to know each other. Because the more that we know each other, the easier it is to know who to ask or who to help or what somebody might need and those type things. So the more that we get to know each other, I think that is one of the best aspects in being able to do that. Also, just knowing Dave's vision for the team, I think is important to me, and nobody wants to feel like, hey, this is what we're achieving, but this is you stay in your lane. We're always allowed to look and kind of think, okay, this is something that might work, and propose it. And then Dave has a huge vision for our team, and it's kind of amazing what he sees, and he allows us to, hey, this is what I envision for us, and we're able to come up and talk to him about what that looks like and how we think we can help, or things that we can do in order to move that vision forward. Which is, I'm kind of a big picture guy like that too. I like to see where we're going, not just where we are, and I think that's important. I feel blessed to be on the team. I really do. Everybody that I've met, everybody is amazing. I've been on the team for 3 years now, so it feels like family. Just like, the people that you surround yourself with over time, that's who you end up being like. And I feel 100% comfortable with the people that I'm surrounded by on the team. I think that's important. And I know that they are going to push me further, just like I'll push them further. And we need that to bounce off of each other, and in order to achieve really where we want to go for what's on the team, for ourselves personally, for my ability to make sure that I'm going on date nights like I should, and going out and being with my kids and spending that time and doing all those things. We need one another. And the team allows me to do all those things. That's all I could ask for. That was the whole point of leaving the corporate world. It wasn't for money. It was because of the ability to make sure that I don't miss these, golden years with my kids. Hopefully all my years will be golden years. But, they're young and they still think dad is cool. And that won't last forever. We all know that because I went through the stage where I didn't think dad was cool. But right now, that's it. We're at that time in our lives. And I think that it's important to be there for my family, but also be there for the team, be there to be able to help the clients just know that I can get them across the finish line, and that it will seem smooth and seamless, and I can depend on each and every person that they come in contact with, throughout this entire process. I trust every one of my associates and each one of them for the part that they're best at, and I know that they're going to do that part better than myself. So why would I try to interfere? I think that's sometimes the problem when someone's been an independent agent. A lot of questions that they ask us, they're like, well, how do you do this and kind of relinquish the reins? But it's because we know that those reins are held by a professional in each aspect. And by knowing that, it gives you all the comfort knowing that your clients are going to be taken care of as well, if not better, than what you could achieve, because they're experts in exactly what they do. It's awesome.